So as you can see in the last, okay, wait, you can't see it. Let me show you. As you can see in the last 24 hours, we did start to get a dip off. And this is because a few days ago, we actually ended up losing support trend. Now, if you guys have seen my Twitter, I did show you guys that this is the current pattern that Bitcoin was forming on the medium time frames. And ultimately, whatever direction that you do enter, you accumulate. And once you exit that, it usually indicates that there's another possible leg. Now, the big question is, we have broken the wedge to the downside. We made a slightly lower low. Is that the low? Are we going down to the lower areas? Are we going down? Are we going to have that true capitulation? Because right now we're starting to see a lot of the altcoins shoot down pretty quick. And we still have this very scary chart of the altcoins on the weekly and showing how critical it is holding the support zone over here, because the next support zone is a really, really, really big gap, and ultimately showing a 40% down within altcoins. This is excluding Bitcoin, excluding Ethereum throughout these times. Now, tomorrow we find out about, let's just get this tweet back up, about DCG. Now, this has been the big rumors that's been going around that they had a liquidity crunch, and ultimately they needed to raise up to $1 billion. And from tomorrow, you know, these guys are a huge player when it comes to holding cryptos. You can see the amount of companies that they are part of. And ultimately, they come out tomorrow and give us an update on the actual situation. Now, if things go bad and it's not good, that can give us the big capitulation to the areas which I'll go through now in the show within Bitcoin and altcoins. But if it goes good and things actually seem okay and fine, we are possibly going to see a humongous short squeeze. And I'll show you all the areas on where that could possibly happen. Either way, now's the time to be extremely dedicated because we are at crunch time. No more wasting time. Jamesy, hit the button.
Click. Have you heard the news? What? With his finger on the pulse, it's like Sheldon knew. Click. When the sniper shoots, we got Sheldon on the charts, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. So enter the sniper, click. Time to be dedicated, sniper mode is activated. Explosions in the market are in target, and Sheldon demonstrates. Mirror on the wall, Master Sheldon tell us all. We got Sheldon on the charts, so we never lose. Enter the sniper, sharpshooter advisor. Enter the sniper, he marks the charts right. Enter the sniper, he's calling the cycles. Enter the sniper, click. Enter the sniper.
Yo, Banter fam, James, why do you keep have you got a little bit of a duck fetish? Like, what's up with the bongo duck? What's up, everybody? Build the suspense. Okay. Oh. Get a little bit of humorous going. Okay. I get you. Yo, what's up, everybody? If you're brand new, smash the subscribe button. If you're part of the family, smash the like button. Remember, guys, to follow me on Twitter. Yesterday, I did quite a tweet showing that where I think capitulation is going to be getting. And ultimately, these are the different targets that I've been setting at. So when I chart throughout the show today, I'm going to be giving you the different, think about it. We're at a stage now where we do have a lot of FUD in the markets, and we do have tons of negativity, if you want to call it. But we know that slowly it's settling. Slowly it's you can see it in price. Everything's settling slightly. And as soon as any bullish sort of momentum comes, we're going to see a really big push up in the market at some point. Now, capitulation could be a really fast candle down, and we hit one massive buy order that literally see Bitcoin go from 15,000 to 12,000 and back to 15,000 within a few hours. This is something that we could see definitely. And ultimately, if that does have to happen, I have set my main targets. So go have a look at this tweet on my Twitter and go see that these are the ranges that I'm setting it as the lows of the capitulation for me. Maybe a slight wick, slightly lower, but ultimately this is extreme bargains. If we get $6 to $7 Solana, $800 to $900 ETH, 20 to 23 cents Cardano, you're basically looking at many of these coins of up to a 95% drop from all-time highs. Same projects, same teams. And ultimately, this is why I'm saying we have to stay strong throughout these times, because the portfolios you build, if not on this capitulation candle, but in this lower range area, you can actually compare and you will start to see how powerful it can be in this market when you understand the cycles. Now, do me a favor. You've entered this market, right? Doesn't matter. Maybe you bought the top, maybe you bought the middle, maybe you joined a few weeks ago and you bought the previous lower ranges and now we've gone slightly lower. Build one more portfolio now, and it may even be a 1% size. And I want you to see the difference in growth and the difference in portfolio of how powerful this market actually is when you have ammo at these specific times. Build a tiny portfolio if that's all that you can afford, but build one and compare. Compare what you did previously in the last year and compare what you're doing now, and let the numbers talk for themselves. Very important to understand that, guys. Remember to follow me on Twitter. Remember to follow my YouTube channel. Link is in the description at Sheldon the Sniper. For sure, lots of love. We've got cool episodes coming very shortly. Remember, guys, we have the trading competitions happening at the moment. We've got the Bybit and the Bitget. And as well, what you'll find below is the Bitget World Cup, where we have teams and ultimately we're fighting for 100 Bitcoin. So it's a nice way to keep busy throughout these times, to take small accounts and have some fun and ultimately learn the skill of trading throughout these times. We have OKX as well, which have great specials and sign-up bonuses if you join with the link. And that you'll find below over here. And they have a trading competition that's happening as well. All links are in the description. So let's jump in here, guys. Let me know in the comments if you do enjoy the shorter shows. I did a 17-minute show on Friday, and it looked like everyone enjoyed it. So I think let me start keeping these shows between 15 and 20 minutes. If you're happy with that, smash the like button. Tell me in the comments you're happy with that. And every day I can just jump through these things, get the information that we need, and then we can be moving on from there. So ultimately, guys, what happened with Bitcoin is we did have the break of this wedge, and ultimately we knew from here we're going to go test the lower ranges and the lower areas. Now, we had the two supports. We had the one at 15.8, which we basically cracked, and then we had the second one, which was around the 15.6, and that was basically the lower point over there. Now, we did go slightly lower than that. We do think that anyone that was long in this area would ultimately be putting their stop losses below this point. But for me, it didn't really get a squeeze to the downside. So for me, there is still the possibility of us making our ways down. Now, remember, when it comes to the higher time frames where we're just at, we did lose these previous supports. Okay? And ultimately, once you've cracked the wall and you're not holding that support strong anymore, you know, it is indicating that you're going to go test the next support. And we do know we have this massive gap over here between the 15K and basically the 12, 10K sort of area. We have three supports. We have one at 13,000, we had one at 12,000, and we have one at 10,000. So ultimately, the way you're going to start looking at this is you're going to look at probably doing around about 3 limit orders on majority of these tokens. We don't know which one we're going to bounce at, but ultimately we know that that's the next range and the next target that we should go to from here. So ultimately, you're going to be splitting. You're going to have your really, really low orders that you're going to hope that you get where things get extremely cheap, and that's around the $9,000 to the $10,000 mark on Bitcoin. But ultimately, you're going to be starting to ladder and put in a few orders. For example, if you want to be putting $1,000 and buying the dip, you'll basically be splitting it probably 3 to 5 orders, where you'll start. I'll show you some altcoins that are actually in areas right now and are entering areas right now. And you're going to be dollar costing and laddering in as this market starts to make its way down. Reason why I'm saying that is the whole world is expecting that we are going to go here next. Everyone on Twitter, all the traders are expecting it. Everyone's saying the same sort of targets. And we know the market tends to not always do exactly what everyone is saying. It may come down slightly to 14.5 and then all of a sudden bounce out of nowhere. All that I'm saying to you is the next bounce is going to be big. There's going to be some sort of buying power when we hit a specific level. You're going to be very shocked how quickly price is going to get back to those levels. And that's when we can finally know that we have capitulated. And it may be tomorrow. It may be tomorrow that they come out DSG and they come out DCG. And they come out tomorrow and everything's fine. They've managed to accumulate all the funds. I think the market's going to react really positive if that does happen. What's the market trying to do right now? We're at support and it's trying to seek any single bit of FUD or any single something to give it a reason to drop. The chart's telling us that very clearly, that we do have another level and there is a drop coming. Now, what's going to make it drop? You know, what news is going to come out to scare the market to do that? So we know the market is extremely sensitive at the moment. So let's actually jump back and let me give my basic views. So what I do have is I have orders sitting at 14K. I have orders sitting at 13K, 12K, and 11K. That's for me on Bitcoin. Now, the big thing to understand, like I did on that tweet, is to show you that there is, your range is a lot bigger on the altcoins to the downside, a lot bigger. Now, let me show you the difference over here. If we look at ETH is obviously holding really strong, considering the rest of the market. And for me, technically, it did not make the lower point now. So a small dollar costing area on ETH makes sense now. Understanding that there is still the possibilities of ETH making its way to $900 and even the $800 region. But one thing I do want to remind you guys is there are tons and tons and tons of shorts right now. People are trying to short the crap out of this market. And at some point, you're going to hit a short squeeze. And when it hits those orders, you're going to see these stop losses hit. And you're going to see this massive candle just form out of nowhere. So don't be afraid to dollar cost at really good areas, because some altcoins have been hurt more than others. And ultimately, some are still going to catch up. So the ones that you're still seeing that's very far from the range of support, give those time to buy. Don't buy them yet. But the ones that are getting to the major supports and major dollar cost areas now, don't be afraid to balance your portfolio at these times. And ETH is one for me. What happens if the market does break out now? And ultimately, what will give us that indication if it does? The indication is now removing support. We now know clearly that the market is continuing down as we speak. And ultimately, when that trend line is broken, is when this little downwards move actually ends. And we can look at a little recovery back to the higher areas of even 18 to the 20K sort of area. So for now, as long as we don't break this trend line, we're going down. And ultimately, what you have is your limit orders waiting. The only thing that's going to change your mind is if we break that trend in a few days at any point. Then we change our mind, because ultimately you look at two ways of the market bouncing. You have where it comes really quick and it capitulates and it bounces up. And that's what I'll see if we go to the 14 or the 10K area, or it goes sideways and basically gives the big guys enough time, because someone's buying. It's weird. I don't know if you've seen it many times on ETH, that the market's going, but then it's getting bought up, and it's going and it's getting bought up. Like even Bitcoin, if you have to go to smaller time frames right now, like it's fighting every time it comes to these areas. Like it's just not dropping. It's not getting that like big acceleration to the downside. So we are starting to get a little bit of interest. So the second way that the market could bounce is it accumulating sideways, giving the guys the big guys enough time to buy what they need in this area. Then what they do is they know that there's tons of shorts sitting outside of this trend over here. So ultimately what they'll do is they'll start to fill up their bags. Once they're happy, they send this up slowly, send it straight into the stop losses. All of a sudden you get a trigger and you have this big short squeeze. Now, I still think that when Bitcoin hit the level of 21K, that was not the high for me. And ultimately, when we are done with this downside move, I'm still convinced, or in my head, I'm still seeing 25, 30K. I do think at some point we are going to really have a strong push back to the upside. We're not going to talk too far on that just yet, but ultimately, I still think that there's going to be extremely big buy wall at some point. So keep this trend in mind. And basically what you're doing with that is you're doing it with all of them. You have this trend over here on Ethereum. Any ranges that we get to is possible dollar costing, which is great. But ultimately, if any of your orders down here don't go through, we will get them out on this trend break over here. And I'm saying the same thing here. This one is slightly different. You can see they're accumulating Bitcoin. You can see dominance is going up. But ultimately, you would like to see price go slow up to here, into the squeeze position, and then all of a sudden we get this pop. We have a very big gap sitting on this side over here. So at some point, we will do that. But for now, our trend is saying down. So ultimately, you have orders sitting here. You're not predicting any upwards just yet until that trend is broken. So for now, markets are going down and we're going to continue making lower lows. Now let's speak about the big ones. Let's speak about Solana. Solana dropped that support. And for me, until this trend line here is broken, $8 to $6 Solana, I'm probably calling it as one of the biggest opportunities if you do get there. I don't think Solana is going anywhere. And I think it's absolutely insane if you're getting any sort of buys between $6 and $8 for Solana. I think it's massive. You look at the guys, let's go back to this tweet. You look at AVAX 100. I actually want to show you the tweet just before this. Let's actually blow your mind a little bit and understand where we're at. This is my targets where I think we'll capitulate to, right? And I basically have 12 to 13K Bitcoin, $6 to $7 Solana, ETH 800 to 900. Let's go back 1 year. 1 year from today. Bitcoin was $64,000. everyone was buying. Everyone. Buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. We have the opportunity of 12 to 13,000 as we speak. Let's go through this quick. $4,700 was ETH 1 year ago. We're looking at 800 to 900 as our targets. You know, you're looking at Solana, $235. We're looking at targets $6 to $7. Guys, it's insane. It's absolutely insane where we're at. The two ways that you're going to always be able to survive these sort of things is to understand that a trend line is going to protect you from FOMOing in. It's going to teach you to be clever and put your orders for specials. Areas where you never think price is going to get to, but the chart shows you that at some point it could possibly get there. And then what that does is you put your orders in and you wait patiently for that. And only if we break confirmation trends, then you can jump in a little bit quicker and you can start to fill up some of your bags. So the trend lines teach you patience. And they teach you wait for your price, wait for your bargain, wait for what you want to pay for the token. Same token, same team, same fundamentals. What do you want to pay for it? The trend line teaches you that patience. So the only thing that changes me from thinking that there's more downside is the break of the trend at some point. And you can see we're far from that trend. So there's time. There's time to make that decision. Now let's look at some coins that I do think are hitting specials at the moment. The one for me is THETA. I took a big order this morning. I do think that there's a slight possibility of maybe lower to the 70, and this obviously Bitcoin capitulates. So I do have some orders, but ultimately, if we look at where THETA's hit here, there is that support. Look at this. This is a critical level for THETA and where you're getting it from, where it's been before. Look where it's been. Okay, they have their main launch coming up. This is a really powerful support that we're on right now for THETA. So for me, you know, am I really gonna, if THETA goes back to $5, $6, I even think it'll get back to all-time high at some point. But ultimately, am I gonna fight with myself that I waited for 1 cent, 2 cents, you know, maybe even 10 cents? You know, so for me, I took an order on THETA now. It's on support right now. This one for me is cheap, and it's at the areas of where we had really high time frame supports. So I'm in strong on THETA as we speak. Where for Solana, drop support, it's not cheap enough for me just yet. So I'm happy with what I'm buying THETA at, and I don't care what it does in the short period of time. I have more orders in case I can get some cheaper. But then we look at Solana. I'm not happy buying right now. I want it cheaper. So you see how you can look at each of the tokens and be a lot more protective with what you're doing. Now let's look at the next one. Cardano. Cardano for me, yes, it is bouncing in a short-term middle area, but it's lost support on the high time frame. And Cardano for me, I want to buy between 16 and 20 cents. So it's not ready for me to buy just yet. NEAR protocol is getting cheap. This is getting extremely cheap for NEAR. So for NEAR, I'm dipping my toes. I'm dipping my toes today, and I'm loading up some more NEAR. It may go slightly lower to around 1.25, anywhere in that area. But for me, I got to remember where I'm buying. I'm buying at this extreme support area over here. And for me, NEAR has hit that area. If it goes slightly more, I will take a little bit more positions if it does, but for me, it's in the zone for me, and I'm dollar costing in these areas. It's the same with Chainlink. Look at Chainlink, all of a sudden, these coins want to bounce, dude. As soon as you see some sort of bullishness, you can see where they want to bounce. These were the buy zones that I gave a few days ago, and the first one was basically around 5.6, and you can see we've bounced pretty strong there. So anywhere between 5.6, I'm loading up more on Link. Link for me, this was a fake out, but ultimately the whole market tanked throughout that time. For me, this wasn't nothing. I still see Chainlink being one of the top runners when the market decides to capitulate and bounce again. I see Chainlink being one of the really strong tokens to do that. So I have order there, and I have one more around $5. And you can basically look at a lot of the tokens. Look at MATIC, looking pretty strong. For me, 70 cents MATIC, 70 cents MATIC. So guys, I'm still expecting more downside. I'm expecting AVAX to go around the $9 to the $10 mark. But some of them are in slight buy zones for me, and it is Link, it is THETA. The rest I'm still being Polkadot. Polkadot's a buy for me. That's my first buy. $5, guys. $5. Spoke of Polkadot. It's a buy for me. Like, I'm buying Polkadot, definitely. And I have one more that at 4.6. 4.6, I'll get more. But for me, this is overreacting. This is strong at this point. I'm definitely taking advantage at these areas over here. We got Fantom. Guys like Fantom. There's the first buy zone. You do have another one. So remember, guys, if the altcoins lose this, 40% down. I think Bitcoin and ETH, 20, 25%. Altcoins, 30% down to 40% down. And you can see that over here. Either we bounce, really soon, like tomorrow, we have a strong ass bounce. So for me, I'm dipping my slight toes. I'd probably, if I was looking at $1,000 to enter in Fantom now, I'll probably put about $300 in this area. And the rest, I'll be waiting for the 11 to 12 cents mark for that 40%. Until that trend line's broken, you can see it very clearly, guys. The trend lines, there. Only thing that changes your mind is that trend line. If we don't break that, if we break that trend line, for now, put your orders in. So Fantom can still have another 30% down, definitely. And that's about it, guys. So I'll go through many more of the altcoins throughout the week. For now, expect that there's news coming tomorrow. If it goes bad, we're going to capitulate. I do think we're going to buy up huge when we get to some sort of point of between 10 and 14K. I think we're going to get a massive buy. I really do. And ultimately, if the news goes good tomorrow, we may not go much lower. We might have a relief bounce before that. And ultimately, we've got everyone trying to short right now. So it will hit all those stop losses and we'll get a massive short squeeze. So it's pretty insane where we're at right now, guys. Balance those portfolios. This is huge opportunities. Go look at my Twitter. Go see the list that I've given. That's the areas where I'm putting all my orders right now. And let's do this, guys. So I'll see you guys on the next show. I'm going to keep the shows nice and short for you guys. Remember to smash a like, smash the subscribe button, and I'll see you all on tomorrow's show. Much love, Banter fam.
Fucking